Tanse Bojo, the Mashiginundish Nikas Manganian. My spirit name is Soaring Eagle. I belong to the Loon clan. That name my mother gave me when I was born is Wally Chartrand. And I work here at Mamoichita Center as Keeper of the Spirit, which is my job title, my role here at the organization. And simply what that means is I try and help look after the relationships we have with one another as staff, the relationships we have with our community, whom we provide services to, and the relationships we have with those other resources, external resources, that are also working with our community. So that's a little bit of what I do within the organization. I also share traditional teachings, cultural teachings, and I also sometimes do ceremonies for people, our community, when they ask. So the reason I'm here today is tobacco was offered to me to share with you some teachings around the winter solstice, which begins on December 21st this year. So I thought I would share a few teachings with you in regards to that. But when I think about winter and that, one of the ways I think about it is, for me personally, it's not my favorite time of season. Okay? I'm more of a summer person. But I do have fond memories of winter as well too, that I do carry with me. And one of those memories that I carry in that is growing up in my little community of called Mallard, and how during the winter elders would come over and visit my kuku, my great-grandmother, whom I lived with. And I used to look forward to those visits from the elders in our community. And anytime they'd come over, my kuku, she would put bannock out with some butter and hot tea, and those elders would we'd share that with those elders that would come and visit. But my favorite part of those visits was that once they were settled, those elders would begin telling stories, about their experiences in terms of their journeys. They would share their experiences within the community, that sort of thing. But as a little boy sitting on the floor, I was very mesmerized by some of those stories, those teachings that they would share with us. So in that way, I do have fond memories of winter time. But part of why I wanted to share that was for us as Indigenous people, when we come to this season right here, this is our time of storytelling. This is that time we used to use to share those teachings, those stories with one another. So I thought it would be appropriate, that I share with you maybe a teaching as we move into this winter season. So one of the teachings I wanted to share with you is in regards to this braid I'm carrying here, this sweetgrass braid. And one of the teachings that comes with this medicine, it represents that kindness. This is what this medicine represents. In that kindness, that sometimes we need to invite in our way of thinking about others, ourselves, about life, to invite that kindness back into our body, sometimes even back into our spirit. When we light that braid, it has a sweet, gentle aroma to it. And when we make one braid like this, we usually use 21 strands to make the braid. And we divide those 21 into 7, 7, and 7. So these first 7 over here, they represent those 7 generations behind us. Who we are, what we are, is because of them. Because they're the ones that made all the trails that we're walking today. So when I talk about our 7 generations behind, I'm talking about our parents, our grandparents, great-grandparents. They're the ones that made all the trails that we're walking today, just as today we're making the trails for our children and those grandchildren yet to come, those next generations. So that's what these first 7 on this braid represent. But sometimes the old people, they tell us, when we pray to our ancestors for healing, sometimes that healing takes a little longer to come. And the reason for that, they say, is because those old trails, they've been disturbed. And what they mean by that is we've put up dams, right? That river used to flow this way, but now that river flows this way. Maybe where that trail used to be. Maybe there's a big lake there now where that trail used to be. A concrete highway, a town, a city where that trail used to be. So they say when we pray to them, they come right away, but then they get to that obstacle. So now they have to find a different way to come to us. And sometimes they say that's why it takes a little longer for that healing to come. But part of that other teaching that comes for me, or what I'm reminded of when I talk about those 7 generations behind, I'm always reminded of all our knowledge keepers, our elders, and that have carried that history for all of us as Indigenous people. They've carried that history. They've kept it alive for the rest of us. But also not only just that history, but also our teachings, our knowledge of those medicines, those songs that we sing, and also those ceremonies that we participate in, those ceremonies we use to help ourselves, to heal ourselves. It's those knowledge keepers, those elders of long ago, that kept that fire alive. So today, that we can enjoy those things in reclaiming who we are as Indigenous people. So that's part of what those 7 represent. Those next 7 over here, they represent those 7 sacred teachings that we all hear about: love, respect, honesty, humility, courage, wisdom, and truth. The old people, they tell us those teachings are simple. Love. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that teaching out. Nothing complicated about it. They say that those teachings are powerful. Respect. When you understand that true meaning, that true teaching of respect, you understand how powerful that teaching is. They say that those teachings are very beautiful. Humility. When I can understand that I'm no better than you, right? But then you're not any better than me either. Regardless the color of our skin, what we believe in or don't believe in, regardless where we sit on that totem pole of life, that sun goes down on the west every evening. And when that sun goes down, we're still all going to be human beings. And when we can accept that and understand that, that's what makes those teachings powerful and beautiful. The other thing they say about those teachings is that we don't walk them every day. And what they mean by that is that we don't practice them. Love, L-O-V-E. It's just a 4-letter word. But when you walk that love, when you show that love, when you demonstrate that love, that's what makes those teachings powerful and beautiful. The last thing they say about those teachings is, how can I love you if I don't first learn to love myself? How can I respect you if I'm not respectful to my own self? How can I tell you the truth if I'm not willing to tell myself the truth? So what they mean by that is that those teachings always have to start from within ourselves. But that's what those 7 represent. The last 7 strands, they represent those 7 generations ahead of us. Our children, our grandchildren, all those children that are yet to be born, 7 generations ahead. Why are they important? Well, what we do to her, Mother Earth, Kimamay Nana Kiwi call her, what we do to her today is going to affect them one day. Right now, she gives us everything we need to have this life that we all enjoy. But if we don't look after her, what will be left for them when it's their turn? So that's one of the responsibilities that we all have as not only Indigenous people, but as human beings, to look after our Mother Earth so that those next generations can also enjoy her and that she can look after them as well. But the other thing they say about those 7 generations ahead, that circle that's around me, is that the one I want to pass on to them? Especially if my circle involves alcohol abuse, drug abuse, family violence, lying, stealing, cheating, is that what I want to pass on to them? And sometimes it's going to be up to us to maybe break those cycles and hopefully to replace them with something better for those next generations. But that's what these 7 represent. We bring those together and we make this one braid. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Mind, body, and spirit. Man, woman, and child. Man, woman, creator, God. When my son was born, I made my son a promise. And I promised my son that we wouldn't cut his hair till he was 7. So we did that 12 years ago. My son, he's 19 today. I cut my hair same time as well. But when my son was 4 years old, he knew this teaching already. Because every morning as I'd get him ready for daycare, I would take time and I would braid his hair. And as I'd be braiding his hair, I would ask him, his name is Misko. I'd say, Misko, what does your braid represent, my boy? Sweetgrass? That's good. What does sweetgrass represent? Kindness? Oh, that's good, my boy. And what does each of these 3 braids represent? My mind? Good. What else? My body? Oh, that's good. What else? Oh, my spirit. Oh, that's good, my boy. What are you going to do at daycare today, my boy? He said, Dad, I'll be kind to my mind. Oh, that's good. What else can you do? He said, Dad, I can also be kind to my body. Good. What else could you do? He said, Dad, I'll be kind to my spirit. Ah, that's good, Misko. What's going to happen if you do that, my boy? He said, Dad, I'll be strong. And that's that second teaching that comes with this medicine. It's through our kindness that we're most strong. Anybody can raise their fist at somebody else. Anybody can use their words to hurt somebody, to put them down. But when we have somebody in our face trying to hurt us, trying to put us down, and to still be respectful to that person, to still be loving to that person, to still be kind to that person, sometimes can take a lot of strength. But that's what this medicine teaches us here. But I thought this was an appropriate teaching to share with you today, especially as we move into this winter solstice and that, and as we move into this holiday season as well. And I think about kindness, kindness and how it is that we are in relationship with one another, how we are in relationship with our family members, with our community members. And I believe that this, is not the only time we do that, but that we do that throughout the year, but especially this time of year with Christmas and that. And again, because of this pandemic that we're all living under, that, life has changed for a lot of us, and it's made it more difficult for some of us. But I always believe that, when we live with one another through that kindness, that's what will keep us strong. That's what will keep our families strong. That's what will keep our community strong. That's what will keep our nation strong. Is, again, by us walking in that way with one another and doing those things and being in relationship in that kind way. But again, not only with just us, but also, again, with Mother Earth, with those animal beings out there, those bird beings, that, again, it's important that we be kind to them as well. So again, in that way, we'll all be strong. So that's part of what I wanted to share with you as part of celebrating this winter solstice. And one of the things I look forward to on December, or after December 21st, I should say, on December 21st, we have our shortest day of the year. But then on December 22nd, that day gets 2 minutes longer, and every day after gets longer and longer. And that's one of the things I look forward to. So I thought I would share that with you as well. But with that, I just want to say, miigwech, thank you for taking that little bit of time to join me today in sharing this teaching with you. And again, I'm appreciative that that tobacco was offered to me so that I can be here today to share in that way. So with that, I just want to say, miigwech, 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 miigwech.